Yes.
Okay. Begin.
Okay, so my speech today is going to be over euthanasia and the Hippocratic Oath. But right now, I'm going to tell you a story about the far-off country of Holland. Now, in the mid to late 1900s, there was a government official who spoke for the people. He had their well-being at heart. He always made the right decisions that they thought, and he just made the right decisions for the country. And so one day, the doctor came to him and was like, "Hey, you've been diagnosed with cancer." And so he'd been feeling very bad, to say the least. And so he was hospitalized almost immediately. And one day, he had to make a decision for himself because he was in very bad pain. There wasn't much they could do for him. And at that point, it was almost a lost cause. And so he'd been fighting to make different decisions for people on their deathbed while he was in the hospital. So he had someone fill in for him at the meetings, and they would introduce that topic. So since everyone liked him, he was a stand-up guy, they took it in consideration. But it's the government, and every decision takes a long time to process. So it wasn't legalized until later on, and by that time, he's already dead. So that leads me into my further point, which is euthanasia. So right now, one of the topics I'm going to be working on is those on their deathbed are on medications. So when someone's not feeling great, they're almost dead, they're more than likely on something to ease the pain, opioids, THC, stuff like that. So that kind of blurs their mind, makes them less focused, and all that. Another one is the painkillers. Painkillers, while they help killing pain, they don't really clear the mind. And according to WebMD, patients with life-threatening diseases are generally on THC and other forms of marijuana. And according to Dr. Stefan Bernard Baumrin, doctor in the Wyatt field, in 2017, the physician gets to be the helpless person's medical guide because he or she is trusted to hold the patient's good uppermost. Now, that brings me on to my next point, which is the Hippocratic Oath. Now, when doctors are generally accepted into their field, they have to take an oath, which is you have to hold the patient's uppermost good. You have to take care of them. Make sure you don't give them the wrong type of care. And while that being said, euthanasia would provide more options for those nearing the end. And instead of sitting there waiting to die, you can go out on your own terms. You can die pain-free, relatively, and you can settle down, make your last statements, settle all your wills and all that. So, according to Michael Irwin, a British doctor in 2018, and in one of the co-founders of the voluntary euthanasia and doctor-assisted suicide, he said, "We are able to choose all kinds of things in life, from who we marry to what kind of work we do. You should have the choice about what happens to you." Now, according to, well, people are given certain inalienable rights, and that being said, including those, you have life, liberty, and death, property, and all that. So part of life is death, and most people, some people, feel that you should be able to choose what happens to you when you're nearing the end. Any questions?